This is the daily wrestling news for February 17th, 2021. We are powered by the Eastern Observer. My name is Ryan Joy, and I'm coming to you live from Minutes to Bell Time Studios on the beautiful Treasure Coast of the Sunshine State. And I'm joined today by the living legend, John DeConi. John, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Very good. Welcome to the show. We have so much to talk about today because we're gonna start with our ridiculously random question, of course, as we always do, and then we're gonna talk about the new hit television series Young Rock that debuted last night. It might be too early to call it a hit. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about Impact from last night. Lots of fun, crazy stuff as always on Impact. We'll hit the NXT lineup, go through some news items, and we'll get out of here. So, are you ready, John?
Absolutely, sir. Ring that bell.
It's so funny because I ring that bell every morning, and I recently watched WrestleMania 24, and Luke Gallows was in that episode, in that WrestleMania, and Snoop Dogg rang the bell. He was playing that character where he goes crazy. I don't know if it's Festus or something like that. I don't know what his name is.
Yeah.
But
the original Festus, yeah.
So the ridiculously random non-wrestling audience needs to know you better question of the day is brought to you by Pro Wrestling Pick'em. Pro Wrestling Pick'em is a place where you can join or host a Pick'em league to test your predictive skills in the world of pro wrestling. Create an account and join a league now at ProWrestlingPick'em.com so you can play against your friends or play against the universe. John DeConi is leading the pack in this season, and I'm like 15 points back. We'll see if I can catch him. But if you've been hearing me talk about this day in, day out, now's the time to jump in there, get used to the platform, learn how to use it. The new season starts after WrestleMania, and it'll be a lot of fun. So somebody has to join to take down John DeConi.
Lots and lots of points available around WrestleMania time, so it's still anybody's ball game.
That's right. John, your ridiculously random non-wrestling audience needs to know you better question of the day is, what is your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
I am a big fan of coconut, so I'd have to go with the Samoas.
Okay.
Although I will tell you, this past season, my 6-year-old niece was selling them, and when my brother gave me the couple of boxes that I ordered, he was like, I don't even remember what you ordered, so he threw in an extra box or so. And there was a new cookie in there that I'd never seen before, the s'mores, that were very good. Kind of like an Oreo, but, good stuff.
Yeah. I bought the s'mores and sent them to my nephew. I didn't get them myself. I got the lemonade cookie this year that I thought was fantastic. But I'm traditionally speaking, I am a peanut butter patty tag along type of guy. So, but Samoas are a big hit in this house as well. They are my wife's favorite. So
there you go.
So we have to get equal distributions of those cookies. Okay, so Young Rock debuted last night. John, what'd you think? Like, what's your initial, thoughts?
I liked the setup. I knew about it ahead of time because I had seen Rock on Jimmy Fallon, I guess, talking about it. So I knew that the way to shoehorn himself actually in there was going to be the whole presidential interview or presidential race interview. And I thought that they make him look a little older. It's a nice touch. I liked everything about it. It was a lot of fun.
I did not watch the Jimmy Fallon because I did not know that that's what was happening. So it started out and I thought, wow, this is a really interesting mechanism to tell the story. But I guess it's the year 2032. The Rock is running for president and he needs to relate better with the people. So he's explaining his backstory, and that's kind of the setup for the entire show. And it kicks off. We go, basically to, you get through that Rock bus news thing, and then he throws it to him in the crowd watching his dad, Soul Man Rocky Johnson, wrestle. And his dad is, a very popular wrestler, and it very quickly turns into this concept of living the gimmick. And his dad explains to him, well, the people see me as this wealthy man, and I have to keep up appearances. So that's why my clothes and the car are kind of above our pay grade, while our house and stuff is not. So, and that kind of is a thread that they pull throughout the entire episode. And I think, if I'm interpreting it correctly, it's probably something we're going to see throughout the entire show.
Seems like, yeah.
Yeah. Um, we get a shot of, or a scene, I guess, of Rocky Johnson playing cards at his house with Andre the Giant, Junkyard Dog, the Iron Sheik, the Wild Samoans. So you get kind of cameos from all these guys, and it's if you're a wrestling fan, you're just gonna you're gonna love that. So it's interesting. They seemed like they got pretty decent actors to fill those roles too.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job with the casting. It seems like, and I've already seen a little sneak peek online of the Vince character and the Randy Savage character, and they continue to do a good job with those. It seems like as well.
Yeah, and the other so you kind of you learn that there's sort of this like little animosity between The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, as a child, and his dad, because his dad chooses to go hang out with his friends and play cards and stuff over spending time with him, taking him to get ice cream. So his mom makes up this lie that his dad got a secret call from the president and you can't tell anybody about it, especially not your grandmother and stuff like that. So it's that's kind of how she justifies Rocky Johnson's activities to his son. So I guess parenting tip there for everybody.
Lie to your children.
There you go. But yeah, you get this whole working the gimmick thing, and then we kind of go back to The Rock sitting at the news, the 2032 Rock sitting talking to the news anchor, and he talks about eventually like trying to figure out how to get the gimmick to work for him, and that brings us through his teenage years and then into his hurricane time with Miami Hurricanes. He eventually, so you see kind of scenes from all those different portions of his life. And then at the end, it's basically like, I've got a whole bunch more stories. So I think even though you get in this initial episode, you get young Rock, little tiny Rock, all the way up to Miami Hurricane Rock, I think what you're going to see after this is going back and addressing, spend some time here, spend some time there. It's not like now we're starting at the Hurricanes moving forward. I think it's going to be kind of a mixture. So
yeah, it feels like we're going to get a little bit of that every week. We're going to see all three or four phases of The Rock.
Yeah, and it's possible that like maybe living the gimmick was the theme for this episode. Maybe it's a different theme next episode. But El Carl says, don't mean to talk politics here, but do you think this is an actual trial run to see if the people actually want The Rock to run for president? Okay. I actually had a little internal debate with myself about this very thing last night. And what I came up with is right now, I think way more than half the people in this country like The Rock. But if he runs for president, it will be no more than half. So I think it's a bad business decision for him.
yeah, that is the way. That's what's Michael Jordan's famous quote. When people asked every time they would ask him something, anything political, he would just sit right in the middle and say like Republicans buy Nikes too. So I don't want to say anything.
Right. So there was even, I think, the very first commercial that aired on the show was Acorn, and The Rock was doing an Acorn pitch and talking about how he started his wrestling career basically with $7 in his pocket. And, so it's a commercial to get you to start investing with Acorn to, make money or whatever. And my wife and I are watching. We're like, it would be a lot better show if every commercial was a Rock commercial. So I think people would actually watch the commercials. So
yeah, absolutely.
I guess the other thing to going along with that $7, he buys a car in this episode for $103. So I don't know what he's trying to tell us about investing, but anyway, John, would you say people should go watch this episode and then continue to watch the series going forward? Give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably would appeal to just about anyone who's seen Dwayne Johnson in the movies, or even if you don't, if you're living under a rock and you don't know who The Rock is, I think it would be at least mildly entertaining. If you're a wrestling fan, all the little nuggets that are going to be thrown in there, I mean, it's almost, how could you miss them?
Yeah, I think that's kind of it. Like, if you're a wrestling fan, I think you're going to like the show, especially if you're a wrestling fan of The Rock's era or the era before the Rocky Johnson era, I feel like you're going to like the show. If you're not, you might still like it, but it's definitely like so far been like wrestling fans will like it. And if you're not a wrestling fan, you might like it too, but we'll see. I want to transition from that into Impact, and I don't have a great transition. So unfortunately, we just have to move through. Gary Mahaffey says maybe in the next series we'll get XFL Rock. Great point. First and foremost, we just know that he's bought the XFL. We haven't seen what will happen, but if that XFL goes off like crazy, there'll definitely be some episodes towards that for sure.
Certainly.
So I guess here is something. If you like the series The Rock, we're going to talk about Impact, where I think Reno Scum has been living under a rock, as discussed in our conversation thread last night. So here, I guess actually it's been me living under the rock. Did you know that Adam Thornstowe is a 19-year wrestling veteran, and Luster, the legend, is a 21-year veteran? I had no idea when Stryker said that.
Absolutely not. I don't know where they were working for, 17 of those years. I only know them for about 2 years apiece.
Well, they got to work against the debuting Finjuice on this episode, and they lost. It was a Power and Glory's old move, the suplex splash for the win for Finjuice over Reno Scum. I guess maybe in their next 20 years they'll start getting some W's, but the Good Brothers came out afterwards and sort of referred to Juice and Finley as young boys, because that's kind of what they were back when the Good Brothers were in Japan. And I guess they kind of mildly agreed to go have drinks afterwards, but there was some jabs thrown both ways, I think, for sure.
Yeah. Laying some groundwork there.
It looks like, Trey Miguel, he got his win in this 4-way match. He beat Willie Mack, Suicide Navari with the Meteora. But it does feel like maybe the Rebellion program is going to be Callahan versus Trey. They continue to tease that story out without really, it's like a 30-second clip every episode, it seems like. So
yeah, that certainly seems to be the direction they're headed in. Callahan seeks him out. First it was on the video screen. Now he's waiting for him backstage. He just continues to get in Trey's ear every chance he gets, and you see it's pissing Trey off. But so far, he hasn't bothered to swing yet. But you can certainly feel that coming.
Right. And in an episode that was full of things from Swingers Palace and a bar scene with Rohit running into James Storm, then getting knocked out with a beer bottle and stuff like that, the line of the night for me, and if you weren't listening, you might have missed it, Tommy Dreamer referring to Gia Miller as Mean Gia. Just love that line.
She is now forever Mean Gia in my notes every week now.
In other action, Impact had a show debut last night before Impact proper. Triple XL got a win over, or Decay got a win over Triple XL. Josh Alexander, he challenged for the X Division Championship. It was about a 12-minute match. TJP eventually won with the Mamba Splash. Matt Cardona got a win over Hernandez. And now we are starting to see the Brian Myers, Matt Cardona thing really kind of push into full effect here. They got into a heated exchange after the match. So.
Once again, Eddie Edwards made the save. It was a 2-on-1, so we may get another series of tag matches before we actually get the 1-on-1, but it definitely looks like it's coming.
Right. And going back to that TJP Josh Alexander match, John, were you kind of surprised that Josh didn't win there? Because I think on the Essential Wrestling podcast, we were all kind of thinking that it might happen, but yeah, TJP came away with.
Yeah, Alexander's been so hot recently. It seemed like, why wouldn't they make the switch there last night? And I was surprised all the way to the end as the 1, 2, 3 was counted. I was like, really? Is this really where we're going with this? Okay.
Well, he gets another shot, I guess, because it'll be him, Trey, and Willie Mack teaming up to face Chris Bay, Black Taurus, and Ace Austin next week. The winning team will then compete against each other in the following week, and the winner of that triple threat match will get a shot at TJP. So I guess TJP gets the next 2 weeks off as he watches his challengers kind of line up. So
Yeah.
if you had to pick one of the 6, who do you think it's? Do you think it's Trey, or Trey seems on a destination for Callahan? So I'm leaning towards Black Taurus already.
Yeah, we had talked on the Essential Wrestling podcast and earlier that Black Taurus kind of got plugged into where Sammy Guevara was supposed to go over to Impact and work. And, we were all kind of like looking at each other like, yeah, we all read that same article. And really, they were going to plug Sammy into Decay? Well, not necessarily. I think this is where they plugged Taurus in place of Sammy. And, that would have been a great little program for Sammy to get a shot at and perhaps even a run with the X title. So,
yeah, the idea of Sammy Guevara and Ace Austin in a match, the same match, also Sammy Guevara and TJP in the same match.
Yep,
those sound pretty okay to me. But I guess that's not going to happen. So we move forward. Moose got a win in the main event over Tommy Dreamer in an old school rules match. Moose kind of no sold a kendo stick shot, then hit a Uranagi and a spear for the W. Earlier in the night, Havoc and Nevea, they seem to be pretty much they're having hard times, which started at No Surrender when they didn't win the tag titles. Now Havoc can't even find Nevea, but Tennille Dashwood comes to Havoc's rescue, and she says, "You know what? I will be your partner." Nevea does not like this, obviously, so she challenges Tennille Dashwood to a match, and she loses. so we'll see. Maybe maybe Tennille and Havoc will team up. Havoc didn't really seem open to it, but Nevea doesn't really seem open to working with Havoc still. So
yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but. I hope Havoc finds herself a new partner because I want to see her go after those knockouts tag titles again.
So Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone had another great piece of promo material here. It was kind of sad when Tony Khan's like, "I didn't get a Valentine." Kind of like, a lot of people probably didn't get a Valentine's Day gift, but they didn't go on national television and tell everybody.
He's always giving, and no one returns the favor. It's very sad.
I enjoy the fact that Tony Khan has worked it out with his accountant that all of the paid ads are going to be a charitable donation on his tax returns. He mentioned that Impact Wrestling caused this change in him, and it basically turned him heel. Don Callis, Kenny Omega taking the championship and running with it has turned Tony Khan heel. So
he is full on character Tony Khan now, TK, whatever we call him.
Yeah, we have next week Cody Deaner versus Jake something in a tables match, and we also have Jazz and Jordan Grace competing against Kimberly and Susan in a number 1 contenders tag team championship match. That's set for next week, along with the 6-man tag that we talked about a few seconds ago. So full lineup for Impact next week, I guess. 3 matches. They usually have about 5, so partial lineup for Impact next week. Anything else in there, John, that you think we missed and need to hit on?
Just the one last thing that Tony Khan said at the end that I guess we'll run over into our next discussion of tonight's shows, that he has a special gift for Kenny Omega coming tonight. He didn't really mention what it might be, but that was kind of the last line of his charitable donation paid advertisement.
Al would like us to dedicate a portion of the show to talk about Swingers Palace as well. We didn't really cover it in full detail, but of course, after the bar scene with Rohit and James Storm, they went to Storm and Saban went to Swingers Palace. There was a WrestleMania 9 reference. They sat down. Fallah Bahh lost the $10 that Hernandez gave him to invest, and it's funny. I don't know what else to say.
James Storm rapping to Alicia Edwards, and Saban just loving every minute of it. And we even got a Bob Seger reference.
Yes, we did. And if you would like to know what that Bob Seger reference was, go watch it back from last night. We'll keep our G-rated rating for today.
Some things better left unsaid here.
Thank you. Yes. So yesterday, Travis and I went through tonight's Dynamite in detail. One thing that we talked about that is not going to happen is this 8-man tag match. The 8-man tag match is supposed to be Matt Hardy, Adam Page, and Private Party versus Chaos Project and TH2. Well, AEW has put out a notice that it's going to, in fact, be Matt Hardy and Adam Page versus TH2. So Private Party and Chaos Project are out. Don't know what happened there, but that's a programming change for tonight. I don't think it probably changes anybody's predictions or outcomes, but it might actually improve the match a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hardy and Hangman work very well together. So, and TH2 we know can fly. So that should definitely be an entertaining match.
And you made the point before the went on the air is that perhaps this is part of the whole contract signing storyline thing, that maybe Matt Hardy has realized that the contract is a little different than he anticipated, and because of that, there's been some programming changes. We don't know. We'll have to tune in. It could also be that somebody ran into somebody that had COVID, and that's why they're off the show. So,
yeah, unfortunately, that's probably the more likely scenario, but
yes.
Find out.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the Valentine's Day gift will be coming to Kenny Omega, so we'll see what that is. And then on the other show, NXT tonight, we have Santos Escobar versus Karrion Kross. That's our advertised match for tonight. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping it's not, a squash to put Kross over and then we're done. I'm hoping it's like a competitive match where, Santos Escobar gets to show his, what he can do against a big guy like Kross and maybe elevate Escobar a little bit in the process. I don't think Escobar will win, but, it could still be good for him.
Yeah, if we get, as long as, like you said, as long as it's not a squash, as long as we get even, the 3 to 4 to 5 minute match, we get like 7 minutes where Escobar gets a little offense, even if at the end Wild and Mendoza have to come in, cause a DQ, and maybe we get a repeat somewhere down the line, whatever. But yeah, as long as it's not a squash, I think we'll be thoroughly entertained by the outcome.
Yeah, agreed. And maybe Wild and Mendoza can do something with Scarlett on the outside. I think there's things they could do here to kind of prolong this a little bit, and and make it competitive. I think the key here is that we want to see Kross at least a little vulnerable during this match, because that will mean Escobar has done something, right? So, in other news, speaking of vulnerable, the Undisputed Era is pretty vulnerable at the moment, and the way TakeOver ended on Sunday, the Undisputed Era looks to be in shambles. Adam Cole super kicked Kyle O'Reilly. He did nothing to Roderick Strong, just walked away from him. So we need to see where Roddy's going to, end up on the Cole side of the equation, on the O'Reilly side of the equation. Maybe this is just brothers getting in a fight. Maybe everything's all patched up tomorrow night. But John, do you think that we're going to get Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole, or do you think it's just a clean split and now we're going separate ways?
Yeah, I hope they don't just walk away from it. Well, whether it is just brothers fighting and they make up, or it's brothers fighting and we actually have to have it out in the ring and then they make up. However it plays out, I hope we get a little more of this. It's not just I kick you in the face, I walk away.
Yeah. So the first action was Adam Cole kicking Finn Balor in the face, which makes me think, okay, Cole versus Balor is on the docket. But then he immediately kicked Kyle O'Reilly. So I think we'll get the Kyle O'Reilly-Cole match, but it's obviously going to be over the fact that Finn and Kyle had developed some sort of mutual respect that Adam didn't appreciate. So Cole's a better heel anyway, let's be honest, right? So.
And poor Roddy Strong just Cole kind of beckoned to him, come on, leave with me. He neither went with Cole nor did he go over and even, attend to his fallen buddy O'Reilly. So, he just kind of sat there in the middle, like, I hate it when mommy and daddy fight. So,
Yeah.
be interesting
Well,
to see where he.
I feel like in the last year, Roddy has really cooled off, and I don't know what I can use to point to what the reasoning behind that, but he can really, really go. He's got cardio for days. He's in great shape. He has innovative backbreakers. I think that, if this might be an opportunity for him to also kind of shine. I think the focus will be O'Reilly and Cole, but then Strong can hopefully do something else and start climbing back up the ladder as well.
Well, after the match we just saw between Gargano and Kushida, and I know we've seen it before, but could you imagine, Roddy and Johnny going for 30 minutes like that? I mean,
Yeah.
because that's absolutely where Roddy shines. So,
and on the other side of that equation, Roddy and Kushida, right?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
No belts there, but still probably a great match. So, let's see. Okay, I have a couple of news items. I'll skip over the bumper so we don't have to go into that. Anything else about tonight that you want to talk about specifically? I know we didn't cover Dynamite or anything because we did that yesterday, but anything you want to bring up for tonight?
No, I think we covered it all. Just great anticipation for that Cross and Escobar match, and fall out of the UE, and away we go. Anything else they put on there is going to be entertaining anyway. So,
yes. Well, in the news section, I want to mention that AEW Dark was only a little bit over an hour last night. 12 matches, 3 of them were under a minute. Dark lately has been over 2 hours, so this was actually like kind of a treat that it was a 1 hour of squash matches. I think this is actually really good. I think 1 hour show is way more palatable, and if they put one match in there that we actually care about and that's competitive, I think it actually becomes appointment television again. I think still 150,000 people watch the show every week or whatever, so it is what it is. But I think if they put that one really competitive match in there that we care about, I think all of a sudden it becomes must see. John Moxley was on the card. Eddie Kingston was on the card.
Yeah.
John Cruz / Serpentico wrestled twice. So, fun little show.
Absolutely.
AEW has released and up for sale now the 5th series in their action figure line, Unrivaled. It is John Moxley, Adam Page, Jungle Boy Luchasaurus, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky. Also in AEW news / WrestleMania weekend news, Arn Anderson can be added to the list of legends that will be at WrestleCon this year. Drew McIntyre's book, A Chosen Destiny, is on sale for pre-order now at Barnes & Noble. You can get a signed copy. And one other programming note, I have never watched Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. I don't know. Have you, John?
I have not.
Okay. I've not watched it. It's more like it's come off like a shoot style fight, like a real fight, no ring ropes and stuff like that. But headlining this upcoming show on Saturday is John Moxley versus Davey Boy Smith Jr. So on the undercard, you have Jeff Cobb versus Tom Lawler and J.R. Kratos versus Chris Dickinson. So interesting matches there. And I think the Moxley and Davey Boy Smith one is really intriguing. It was supposed to happen a while ago, but had to get postponed. So, might be worth people checking out if they had a casual interest in it before and never pulled the trigger.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, where do you even consume that? Is it a YouTube thing or?
I think you can get it on Fight. I would think.
Okay.
Yep. I think if you Google it, you won't have to look too hard. There's probably also, I don't know, but it's probably incorporated into some of the other independent wrestling streaming packages that you can get and stuff like that. So, okay. Trivia time. Here is the score. Al Carl got a special trivia question last night on the Essential Wrestling Podcast, and he is 1 for 1 for the week or for the month. You, John, are 7 for 10. You're trailing John Smith by 1 point. Travis is not doing great. So, all right. So we have Elimination Chamber pay-per-view 2017.
17.
All right. You get 5 questions. A simple majority correct will get you the W. If you win, you get the Goldberg Asuka, and if you lose, you get a Hawkins. There was one chamber match on this show in 2017, and this man defended the WWE Championship inside that chamber. Was it A, John Cena, B, Bray Wyatt, C, AJ Styles, or D, The Miz?
It's 2017. I'm seeing Cena on the poster, so I'm going to go with Cena.
Okay, correct. John Cena. Very good. Okay, so 1 for 1. Now, this man defeated John Cena to become WWE champion in that match. Was it A, The Miz, B, AJ Styles, C, Bray Wyatt, or D, Baron Corbin?
B, Bray Wyatt.
It was Bray Wyatt. All right, 2 for 2. I always like it when they start this way. So during this era, WWE was running brand-specific pay-per-views. Was this a Raw or SmackDown event?
I believe it was a SmackDown event.
It was a SmackDown event. 3 for 3. Okay. We're going to the undercard now. Randy Orton wrestled this man on the undercard. Was it A, Eric Rowan, B, Luke Harper, C, Dolph Ziggler, or D, Kalisto? No titles, just a singles match.
Wyatt was at the top of the card, so it would have to probably have been one of his boys. Just for S's and G's, I'm going to go with Luke Harper.
S's and G's. It took me a second to get that reference. Luke Harper is correct. You're 4 for 4. The pressure is on. You could hit a perfect plex. Take home a W today. You definitely got a W. It's just whether or not you get a perfect plex. In the semi-main event, this woman defeated Alexa Bliss to become the new SmackDown champion. Was it A, Natalya, B, Nikki Bella, C, Becky Lynch, or D, Naomi?
Alexa Bliss was the champion, and she dropped to Naomi.
Perfect.
That is correct. You hit a perfect plex. You get the Asuka award. Naomi did win the SmackDown Championship that day. You were 5 for 5, and I do believe if we reference the scoreboard again, that would make you 12 for 15. So John Smith still has a chance, if he goes perfect, to sneak out in the lead, but you are currently in the lead, at least for one day.
Yeah, exactly. 24-hour title.
Let's tell some people about some other things that are going on. First and foremost, we have the Chair Shot shirt. So check out the new Chair Shot shirt. The Chair Shot is our featured shirt this month. At $20, the shirt not only features a steel chair, but it is also a steal of a deal. It already comes in the super soft style. No upcharge for that. All sizes are the same price, so you're not paying more if you wear a 2X, and you can get it in a bunch of different colors. I wrote a story that kind of goes with this that you can get for free at minutesofbelltime.com, but the shirts are way cooler than the story, so definitely check that out. And then on Fridays, join Joey Jarzanka, Ian Schreier, and Rob DeLuca on Friday nights for the Primetime Rundown. We take you through the world of sports, and the show kicks off at 6 p.m. on the Eastern Observer. And just last night, we did episode 41 of the Essential Wrestling Podcast, hosted by Al Carl. John DeConnie was there. I was there. John Smith was there. Gary Mahaffey was there. It's a week of updates and highlights in the world of wrestling, so you can go watch the replay of last night's episode now on the Eastern Observer. You can also tune in this Tuesday at 6 p.m. for episode number 42. All the same gang will be back, and we'll talk through everything that happens, including this weekend's Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Our show, the Daily Wrestling News Show, returns tomorrow with John Smith. We'll be talking about all of the outcomes and things that happen with the events tonight on the Wednesday Night Wars. And then on Friday, we have a Friday edition of the show. We don't always do that, but this week we're going to do that. And Gary Mahaffey will be joining me, and we are going to have an interview with Georgia Smith, the daughter of the British Bulldog. So do check us out on Friday. That'll be a good episode. And then on Monday, I return with an interview from Coastal Championship Wrestling star Bugs Moran. So lots of fun stuff happening on the Daily Wrestling News Show. And in fact, Sunday night, we are going to do a post show. Travis and I will do a Elimination Chamber post show. It'll go on pretty much directly after Elimination Chamber. We like to take a 15-minute break just to compose our notes, and then we'll get on and discuss things. So, John, life is busy.
Absolutely, especially for you, sir. Taking in some of those New Japan shows, I just don't know how you do it.
Well, we don't have another big one until the end of the month, so we're good there. But gotta follow everything as it goes through, though. So, all right. Well, that's it for today. Thanks, everybody, and we will catch you tomorrow.